Hey there, business students. This is Scott making a video about how I am turning around this game. This is not my game. This is something else. Now, I've made sure to hide the SIM ID and the names of the people that are actually own this game here. So don't worry about that. And I want to show you a little bit how they started off and where I'm taking it, and then what we're going to do in the future. So they did watch my videos, and they did come up with some issues that basically there's 6 teams, and while in my videos I had 5 teams. So very rarely does anybody get to play the game more than once, because the only way to play this game is to have taken the class multiple times, or to be brought in from a person that you know that's taking the class. So now, none of these people go to my university. They're very far away. They sent a message to me, so I have very little relation to them, but they asked me to come in and help them. So if you have been watching my previous videos where I go through my entire own scenario, my own game, you'll notice that there's a lot of similarities, while not everything's the same. So I'm going to first talk about what they changed, because they didn't do everything exactly the way I did it. They made some changes, and they made some changes in anticipation because they had 6 teams instead of 5, which that's the correct approach to not run the exact same game. However, the changes they made were not helpful to them. So those would not have been the changes I would have made. So that's why they brought me in. So when you do make changes, when you notice that your game is different from what you've seen that I've done, you also have to make sure that you make the right changes. But of course, with this game being as complex as it is, it's not always it's a harder thing done than said. So, easier done than said, I think that's the... Anyways, yeah, I'm not making a new video when I mess up. I'm not a YouTuber, so I'm just doing this to help you out as much as possible. So what did they do in the first 2 rounds that did not help them? So right now I'm making decisions for round 3. So they basically put too much money into marketing, and I've had to dial that back. Now I get it. Basically once you get to 100% you pull it back, but they had areas of over 2,000. They were just spending too much. When you look at the reports from the round 1 stuff, they were just spending too much money in that area. So I'm dialing things back, and now it's easier to do that once you've hit 100% awareness, and it's going to be even easier once we hit 100% accessibility in a couple areas. So we're going to continuously dial that back. I don't think you should ever spend more than $2 million on any one of these things. And I think they're doing that to keep up with their competition, because in round 1 they saw them spending more money and also getting more sales. But I think spending all that extra money is not doing a whole lot for you. Also, in production, they increased capacity, which is something I've done, but I think one of the changes to do when you have more people in the game is to not increase it so much. Okay? Why? Because if you have more players, there is less product to go around. Also, if you have players that are not selling off, so in my game we had Team Chester and Team Andrews that were selling off parts of the business or downsizing. Let me tell you, the teams in this scenario, they're not doing that. I think that many of them may be watching my videos and making fun of Team Chester for selling off. So they're like, well, we're not going to sell anything, right? Well, that may be good for you, but if everyone does it, it's going to be a harder game for everybody. So with that said, you should not be increasing capacity quite as much as I did. I would increase capacity very little, or in the early game, for anything besides low end, don't increase capacity. So, I wouldn't have increased capacity in traditional. Look, they have more capacity in traditional than they do low end, and so basically for traditional, and we're having to go down. Look at how much inventory we have on hand. Look at that. They're spending all that money on static inventory. I think Boat is their new product is the only thing without inventory. So, and then because they actually took an emergency loan, I think mostly because of all this inventory and so much money they spent on stuff that didn't do anything, basically increasing capacity, that they had to take an emergency loan, and they also skipped making new products. You have to make new products. Okay, so turn 1 they made Boat, but then turn 2 they couldn't make anything. So turn 3 we got to make 2 products now. So that's basically what we're doing. We're having very small capacity. It will increase over time because think about it, if your capacity is too low, you won't even be able to keep up with your overhead costs. It'll just be a product continuous loss. But even though the product is at a loss, it does support the other more legacy products in the area. It makes them better. Why? Because accessibility is one of the biggest reasons why. Look at that. Since we got a second product that is in between low and traditional right now, it's going to end up being in low. It's helping those two greatly. Look at how much more it's helping them. Almost 100%, 96% comparative to 75%. So that's why we need to get our accessibility higher, and the best way to do that is not by blasting out your sales budget, but by actually making new products. And eventually they will be profitable. So eventually these products here, Boat, Best, and Buzz, will be profitable. And this also with Buddy and Bold. Now some of the other teams are also creating products in Buddy and Bold, so we'll see how that ends up. But yeah, usually in the early game you're going to take small losses here for your performance and size. Okay, so that's going to be usual. And it's smart not to sell them, but I see why some people do sell off. It was like, oh, it's a loss, I can't turn it around, let's just go ahead and sell it. Well, you know, sometimes that's okay. I think it's okay sometimes. If everyone was playing this game like I was playing it, you know, I think a lot of us would probably sell off at least one of the two. But I think that we can turn these around, and I know it's a $1.5 million loss, but I don't want to sell it. And if we were going to sell it, we should have sold it, I think, in round 2 or round 3, which would be this round. But I think I want to hold on to it, especially Bold. Bold, this is the performance. I think we're going to be fine. And I'm just saying the same thing over and over, but I think we should be fine. And if we're not, then we can sell it in round 4. You know, if it's just looking too bad. But we're definitely going to want to double up in the middle corridor, right? This middle corridor, that's where all your money is. So much money is being made. And you really only make money on the wings when other people have dropped out. Now you can make a little bit, but you make a lot of money in the wings here when people drop out. But, you know, if they're not going to drop out, but the thing is, I don't want to hand them the money either, you know. So if it's only a small loss, I think I'm fine with that. So these are our finances. So what am I doing to turn it around? So first off, they owe more money than we can raise in long-term or common stock. So that's why we're pulling out a short-term current debt. I don't want them to pull, because I've seen this before where someone has got an emergency loan even though they were profitable that round. So I think that if I don't have this, you'll see cash finance, you see we're in the negative $4 million. We're going to pull a $4.7 million emergency loan even though we're going to be profitable. So that's why I'm doing this. Now, I could be wrong in that assessment, but I think that's how that works. So that's why we're going slightly in the green there. So that is the finances. Another thing that I'm doing to turn this thing around is obviously making those 2 products. And also, in my videos, I said that to get ahead in the R&D. So in my game, I got a little behind in the R&D. You really want to always stay ahead in the R&D department, right? So my whole plan before was to gain some early cash, and that worked out a little bit. And for these guys, it didn't work out at all. So when you're playing your game, stay ahead. Don't try and play catch up when in R&D, okay? So they didn't see that part of my video, I'm assuming. They didn't know that, so they went ahead and used the exact measurements, and it didn't work out for them. So I highly recommend for you to get ahead and stay ahead. or as much as possible, because in the early rounds you can't move these products as fast. See, I'm already in December. You can't move them as fast as they're moving. So if you get behind, you're going to stay behind for a few turns. So you really have to max it out. Max everything to December. First turn, just go all straight to December. Now, you can see, we're going all the way to December in high end and traditional. And then in low end, we're going to May of the year after. So when we do round 4, we're not even going to be able to touch this, which is normal. It is low end, so we only want to touch it every few years. So round 3 is the year to move this. But when it comes to the other ones, yeah, look at that, November, August. So yeah, and we're setting things a little far in advance for Best in Buzz. That way, we don't have to move them right away. Again, we want to make sure that they're not behind when we get in there. We want to be a little ahead. That way, we can try and get that sweet spot of June and July revision dates. And we're going to go to custom modules, and this is what allows us to have June and July revision dates a little later in the game. We're maxing these out. And this is the marketing. So basically, I just wanted to tell you the lessons learned. So the lesson learned is don't copy exactly, and then when you realize that you can't copy exactly because your game is different than mine, to put a little more have a little more vigilance, and to think about, if the field is more crowded, I have to spend less money, right? To not overspend in marketing. I wouldn't underspend in marketing, but I certainly wouldn't overspend in marketing. So what happens if you're in the game and there's only 4 teams? Well, if there's only 4 teams, then you would need to spend more in areas like capacity, right? Because now this depends on whether or not the professor increases or decreases the actual total market size. So there's a lot of factors to keep in mind there. So really take it all in and make a holistic approach. If you just simply copy exactly what we're doing, you might have a bad time, or you might have a good time. So if you copy my results from my video series from the game I played, you might be fine if you have 5 groups and all the other numbers are exactly the same. That's when you might be fine. But if there are different changes, then you're going to have to make changes. You're going to have to make better changes. So I know my video series has been sort of just a copy me video series versus me. I wish I could teach you better, but there's a lot in this game that is unknown or we don't really know yet. There's some things in the game that's we're trying to figure out. So now you can call their customer service line, and they can tell you more. And our professor definitely recommended that we give them phone calls. And you know what? Maybe next round I'll give them a phone call and start asking questions and figuring things out. So basically, with this game being 55% of their grade, this is why they called me in. And for you, you might be in the same boat. So if this is only 10% of your grade or something, then it's not too big of a deal. But for some people, it's a very large percentage of the grade. It's a really big deal. And if it's that much of your grade, you really need to put the work in, and then really understand it. So if I was to back out of this, I'm not, because you'll see the names of the people that are in this module, but you'll see that they didn't complete all the training modules that's in capsim. Guys, you got to complete those, and I would say do them 2 or 3 times to get better understanding. So you really got to put in a lot of work, and I can help you out a little bit. So send me a message on LinkedIn if you need help, and yeah, good luck out there, everyone.